Welcome to Bears in Exile. Today is Friday, August 3rd, and this is the weekend market overview, looking at the Dow, SPX, VIX, TNA, UUP, FXE, GLD, SLV, CompQ, GE, Apple, JP Morgan, XLF, and a few other things. Alright, so, strong day in the market. Dow up 217 points, something like that. And all kinds of indications. On Thursday we were talking about daily looked poor, the 60-minute looked good, and that we weren't counting the bulls out yet. We had a couple of tells on some of the charts that we had. No idea that it was going to be this strong today, but wow, pretty darn amazing. Daily running thread talking about setting up the shorts to get smashed, and they certainly they certainly did, and not on news that really justifies this kind of movement, but anyways, it is what it is. Now looking at the Dow, we broke out, made a new recent high today. Let me make absolutely sure, pretty darn sure. Yep, we did. New recent high today, and close of real body higher than recently. Bullish, absolutely. The daily looks very good. We do have a new topping area starting to form in the heat map. We have everything ticking up, even getting an uptick on the 14-day RSI moving average. Now, one thing that today also did was it has created even more negative divergence in the MACD histogram and in the stochastics, and to a lesser extent the CCI. So at some point that'll matter. For the moment it doesn't, and the daily looks very nice. Now, a big move in the daily. We should have some kind of reaction in the 60-minute time frame. You can see where it poked its head above the recent high but retreated. You could look at this and say, oh, well, this is perhaps a double top, and perhaps it is. But we do have something forming here that could be a bull flag. But beyond that, we have just about everything rolling over in the 60-minute, almost, not quite everything. The CCI, the stochastics, the MACD histogram, but you have the 14-day RSI moving average still moving up, the RSI moving up, and the MACD moving up. So kind of a push-pull. Just comes into, is this a bull flag? Is this a double top? I personally think that it does have a little more to the upside, and then after that, which should take a few hours, we'll have the 14-day RSI moving average presumably at a high and lined up with everything else, and then it can start its movement down, and by that time we might even have confluence in the daily time frame, and we'll be ready for a move down. Because here on the daily everything's pretty darn high, just needs to have something to get the ball rolling. Yeah, get the 60-minute on board with a strong movement to the downside, and yeah, I think the daily will probably not fare so well. SPX, there isn't really anything to rehash here. It's exactly the same as the Dow, new recent high, etc., etc. Everything else is identical, so no need to cover that twice. And moving on to the VIX. The VIX got hurt pretty bad today. It is an ugly chart in the daily time frame. We had this new recent low about 2 weeks ago. Said that it should be retested, and certainly it's getting close to that. So the question becomes, are we going to have a double bottom, or are we going to have a new low? I'm actually kind of leaning the new low route, but could be wrong. Maybe we'll get a double bottom. We do have an area in the heat map starting to light up saying that this should be a bottoming area. But we do have the CCI, the stochastics, the RSI, the histogram, and the MACD, which is looking for a bearish cross, all pointing down. Only the 14-day RSI moving average is still pointing up. So, according to the daily, should we have more to the downside? Yes. And we commented last night about how ugly this candle was, getting below the long-term moving average bar. Very, very bearish. This was just a amazing little gap down today. Wow. 60-minute time frame. We can expect a little more down on the VIX. And the 60-minute, we can see that it is looking pretty darn weak. You could look at this and say, oh, this is a falling wedge. This is a bull flag. We're working off the extremeness in the heat map, although it is still pretty darn low. We have the CCI rising, the 14-day RSI moving average still moving down with room to move. Stochastics lock low, down on the RSI, slightly up on the MACD histogram, and the MACD still pointing down. So even though this is pretty darn extreme, we can see that there is still some more that it can do, and that would line up just fine with a double bottom or even a pierce of the previous floor. So bounce at some point, because it's going to get extreme, even more extreme. Question becomes, how much more? TNA. We've been not happy with TNA for a while now, and ending today with a fat body spinning top. It had percentage-wise stronger move than the Dow and SPX, but notice it is nowhere near its previous high, or busting out of it in the case of the Dow and SPX. Instead, we have this descending trend line, and it's slightly out of place. Just above, right about the 53 area, high 52s, coincides with the major price consensus level for the new month. Could we go up to that and fail, which we've done a few times? Yes, and that would make sense. A little more to the upside. We have nothing in the heat map really to warn us. We have the CCI rising, disagreement in the stochastics, rising in the RSI, rising in the MACD, rising in the MACD histogram, and down on the 14-day RSI moving average. So room for more to the upside? Yes. Do we have some positive divergence? Yes. That is working itself off at the moment. Actually, it's already exceeded the low here, so it's already fulfilled that. But, So in the daily, absolutely bullish. And in the 60-minute, we can see that it is pretty darn extended. We have a possible bull flag here. You can see that we're going down on the CCI, stochastics, the histogram, but we're going up in the MACD, RSI, 14-day RSI moving average. Very similar to the Dow and SPX in this regard. Could we have a little more to the upside, bring us into that $53 level, and then crap out after other things are more aligned? Yes, that makes sense. And UUP, massive drop in UUP. And last night we had the good move up, which we noted closed below the major price consensus level, although it peaked above it. We talked about the gap up here, whether or not it would need to be filled, because it was so close. And we also talked about what remained of the gap down here. Trying to remember exactly. If I go back in time, I don't recall much beyond that. Yeah, regardless, we're coming in on this descending trend line, which has meant something a few times in the past. Question will become what happens when it interacts with it once again. Since it is descending, it could be presumed that that will also coincide with a gap fill, which is not far away. So very, very interesting. It did get below the long-term moving average bar, which is bearish. We do have most everything heading down. Actually, everything is heading down, also bearish. So good for the market bulls. But look how much distance is left between that descending trend line and where we are now. That would be just enough to patch that that little jump that should be coming in the down SPX, just to finish off their exhaustion to the upside. So very, very, very interesting, and I think that it makes a lot of sense. Things are lining up. I like it when things line up. FXE, the euro. Very nice movement today, getting up naturally, which is always preferable to just a gap into the long-term moving average bar. Everything is moving up. It does look bullish. And we've talked about this gap, which has been filled. We just got back to that gap fill area once again. And going further would be the double gap fill area that we've talked about in the past. And actually all of this is, we have two double gaps here. So it would seem, if this one is going to go like a rocket, which it should have problems with the long-term moving average bar, and it's already at the upper Bollinger Band, but if it was able to push everything back and go all the way to the top of wherever that should be the 125 area. That would fill these two gaps and make it to the previous major price consensus level. Makes a lot of sense. But do I think that it's going to go that far? No, I really don't. I really don't. I guess we'll see. CompQ, the NASDAQ. Very nice move, exceeding a recent high. Not the most important recent high. Actually exceeding two of them. Still has this one right here. Ending with a fat body spinning top, getting a blip in the heat map. Almost everything ticking up. Everything except the 14-day RSI moving average. All ticking up. It is definitely a bullish daily chart. Do I think that it'll have problems right here? Yeah, I think that that will definitely be an area to watch. And if it does happen to go up there and kiss it, could we have a double top? Yes, absolutely. And if it breaks that, then time to reevaluate. But very nice. A little more to the upside, runs into resistance, lines up well with the Dow or with SPX. I like things that make sense. And Apple. Very nice recovery from the 575 area. Did exceed this high from a couple days ago. Very nice. Ending with a spinning top, closing above the upper price consensus level for this new month. And coming in close to the recent high, which all-time high. Beyond that, we have the 14-day RSI moving average moving down. Stochastics high, fast trying to turn. CCI high, ticking up. RSI not high yet, ticking up. Bullish cross on the MACD, up on the MACD histogram. Not a bad looking chart. Not as good as some of the other charts. It'll be really interesting to see if it can make a new all-time high. It's only $5 away. But beyond that, very interesting, the positioning of the indicators. It would almost seem like it would be close to getting tired, but hey, it can get locked in the upright position and continue to go higher. We'll just have to wait and see. Moving on to GE. Very nice movement on GE. Not quite. Actually, it made a right on the nose, hit its previous high right here. Everything is moving up. Everything bullish. We have do have a new blip starting in the heat map, but it's early. It's early. It shouldn't take very much power at all to overcome this previous high. Definitely will be good for the overall markets. Should lead the Dow. So Dow should be going a little bit higher. Be absolutely fine if GE breaks this. And nothing of note in the short-term moving averages. We noted last night we had the downtick that was resolved intraday. We needed to see what it would do next, and now we know. Now we know. Definitely are building on the negative divergence in the MACD histogram, and if we create a new high on Monday, very possible that it'll be even more so. Could break this one right here, but you'll still have negative divergence. And if you also do that, you'll have negative divergence in the stochastics and in the CCI, although that will be very minor. So something for down the road. USO, oil. Very nice move today. Oil is bullish, the market is bullish, definitely a bullish move. Closing above the upper price consensus level, closing above the long-term moving average bar, just barely starting a blip in the heat map. Nothing to be concerned about at this time, but 14-day RSI moving average holding very high. Once that gets a downtick, that should be a tell. We don't have a downtick now, but I'll be watching for it. Up on the CCI, up on the stochastics, up on the RSI, up on the histogram, and up on the MACD. Bullish daily chart. Coming in on previous high and filling this gap, well, most of it anyway. Little tiny bit area left. I don't know if that'd be enough to complete the move that we're expecting on the down SPX, but it certainly wouldn't hurt to fill that gap. GLD, nice move up with the falling of the dollar. Makes a lot of sense. Closing above the long-term moving average bar, almost kissing the upper price consensus level. 14-day RSI moving average moving on up along with the CCI. The stochastics attempting to turn up on the RSI, sideways on the MACD, down on the MACD histogram. A little more mixed, but still not a bad chart. And if we're going to have a little more down on UUP to fill that gap and come into contact with the descending trend line, then yes, a little more up on gold would be fine. Maybe even enough to fill this gap. And there should be resistance after that's filled. So once again, another chart that says a little more to the upside and then a potential problem. I like that. I like that. And SLV. Yeah, marching up into the long-term moving average bar. It's always had problems with this. Very similar to gold in the formation, but it would seem that resistance would be a lot more considering where it is. Starting to create a new blip in the heat map very early. 14-day RSI moving average still moving up. Stochastics down, CCI up, RSI up, histogram up, and MACD up. So a couple of things in its favor that gold does not have, but until it's able to do some more damage to this bar and get above it, I simply don't trust silver. Nope. And JP Morgan, most important bank. Yeah, it has a ways to go until the previous high. Still has to contend with the 200-day moving average, which obviously it has problems with. Stochastics trying to turn. 14-day RSI moving average, it's actually a slight tick up. How about that? Up on the CCI, up on the RSI, up on the MACD, and up on the MACD histogram. Bullish chart. Just a little ways to go, and it should run into problems. This is a reoccurring theme. XLF, the banks overall. And this was different. It actually made a new high, busting out this sucker right here. First time it's done so. Very nice. Closing above the upper price consensus level, starting to make a new warning area in the heat map. Going up on the CCI, sideways on the 14-day RSI moving average, slightly up on the stochastics, up on the RSI, up on the MACD, up on the MACD histogram, bullish chart. And we might as well look at the 60, because that could also give us some clues. And yeah, what do we have? We have what appears to be the start of a rollover, or it could be a bull flag. And we're moving down on the CCI, the stochastics, and the MACD histogram, up on the MACD, the 14-day RSI moving average, and the RSI. Very similar to many other charts. And just like all the other charts, if we have some more up movement on the 14-day, on the RSI, and maybe start to turn on the MACD itself, we should be poised for a rollover in a day, maybe two. Lines up with everything else. Could be totally wrong. And why not Walmart? Since we've been covering this one quite a bit. Trying to nudge up here to the all-time high. And look at that, 14-day RSI moving average, down tick. Stochastics, down tick. MACD, down tick. MACD histogram sideways, up on the RSI, and up on the CCI. This looks pretty darn tired to me. And a little bit higher, could run into a double top. This rolls over, which it very well could roll over. And you have all kinds of negative divergence. Does this take the Dow with it? It certainly won't help it. And I think that's going to be about it. Yep. Hope to do a Vegas baby this weekend. But for the moment, I think that's just about going to do it. Expecting a little more up come Monday. And a movement down to some extent shortly thereafter. I don't know if it'll be big, I don't know if it'll be small, but we should have some indication once it arrives. As always, all investing decisions are your own. This chart and video are for entertainment, educational, and consumption of time purposes only. Thank you.